Hello, everybody here okay? Sounds good. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. My name is Tom. I'm the owner and founder of the Drop Shop in Providence, Rhode Island. We're a newly opened sneaker boutique selling sneakers, clothes, and accessories. And everybody on the panel today has been doing great things with sneakers. So today we got Sneaker Shouts, Ivan Atunes.
Hello.
He is the founder of Sneaker Shouts, an online platform providing news, restock info, early links, and deals to over 500,000 Instagram and 300,000 Twitter followers. We have Drizzy Success.
How's it going?
He's the co-founder of The Vault and Revere. They're a newly opened sneaker shop providing sneakers and apparel to everybody in the New England area. We have London Customs. He's the founder of London Customs, creating a custom-made clothing, sneakers, canvas, and thousands to clients and celebrities. And we have Oscar Souls. He's the founder of Oscar Soul, supplying and investing in the world's hottest sneakers. All right, we'll start with Oscar. It's safe to say the passion to buy, sell, and trade new and used clothing sneakers is extremely unique. What would you identify as the biggest obstacle and struggle you faced when starting out?
I mean, I would just say staying consistent, right? Because when I started in the business, obviously any business that you go into, it's going to take years and it's going to take a lot of persistence to finally see success. So in those first kind of years where, you know, my follower count wasn't growing, my sales numbers weren't doing great, it was tough at some points to stay persistent, to stay consistent. But, you know, as long as you persevere and as long as you put in that hard work, you'll eventually end up seeing results. And that was kind of what, you know, guided me through those first few years.
Was there anything that kept you motivated or focused throughout that time? To reach your goals?
Honestly, just loving sneakers, you know, because you gotta love what you do. Because in those first few years, like I said, you may not necessarily see results. So as long as you're doing what you love, you'll stay dedicated to it for sure.
So what about anybody else? Was there a tipping point where you guys had the biggest obstacle or struggle you faced when starting out?
I'm going to talk to one struggle that I think of particular is convincing my parents that this is something that can be profitable, something that you can make money with. So I went to business school. I was graduating. I had a job at CVS lined up, and Sneaker Shout started to kind of start making money. So I had to convince my parents, hey, let me get a year to try this out, and I kind of had to walk them through. My parents are immigrants, so they didn't quite get, I don't even think they get what I do now still. But trying to convince them and saying, hey, this is something I love, this is something I want to pursue, and kind of having that talk with them and trying to just be as down to earth as possible with your parents, and convincing them that, you know, whatever it is, whatever idea you have, whatever idea you want to pursue, you got to try to, you know, build a business plan. You have to put it into, you know, maybe plan out a 5-year business plan and say, look, I'm going to try this, this, and that. Give me 2 years. You know, I'm young. I got the rest of my life to go work for CVS, and this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
I'd say I appreciate what they do because I kind of took a different route because I started going to all these events all the time. I started collecting sneakers, and instead of wanting to sell them, I kind of fell in love with them, and I wanted to make my own sneakers. So I took a different path, and like he said, my mom didn't really take me serious when I wanted to paint shoes, and I'd show her some stuff, and like I said, like he said as well, consistency is everything. Just believe in what you do, stay on path. If you want to really get into the sneaker community and know what you're doing, really get the knowledge and know what you're doing, and take knowledge from everyone around you and follow others' footsteps. And I'm here listening to them and gaining new knowledge every second of the time, every day. So just stay consistent and love what you do, and just keep going.
Yeah, and for me, I never thought I would be here because I started living by myself when I was 18. I didn't see that coming. And while I was living by myself when I was 18, that's when real life hit me. I was working at Stop and Shop as door security, and that wasn't enough. I sold shoes, and I made $1,000 from that, and I got it for $160. And I was like, that's crazy. When I'm getting week checks, bi-weekly checks, they're like $300, $400 because taxes is getting taken out. And I was like, that's crazy. So I just started furthering, get into the shoe game. I used to always rock my shoes when I used to live with my parents. But then, when you grow up and you got to pay bills, then you start to realize that, like, I can't be rocking shoes to impress other people. I got to make my own money. And during that was like 2018, I ran into a shoe store named The Vault, owned by Scott Storniello. And, I used to just chill there. He had all kinds of shoes I'd never seen before in my life. And I just started getting attached to him. We just started talking, started building brand. And, 2019 hit. I bought my first car, got my first crib, and the shoe game showed me that, like, there's a lot of money that could be made. There's resellers, there's people that wear shoes. I don't care what you do with your shoes. Everybody has a different position. So if you do need to make money, everybody needs to make money for either their family or for themselves. So if you make money from reselling, that's good. That's better than going out selling drugs. That's better than going out doing drugs. So parents, I advise you, really look at your kids and help them out, because this game is going up, and now it's like a stock market. That's why StockX is out here. So it's literally like a stock market now. So just be smart. So.
What about you, Oscar? Was there a moment where you finally realized you wanted to turn your passion into a business?
Honestly, I would say it really happened when I graduated high school. So, I was in the sneaker game for 3 or 4 years through high school, just like a lot of kids, kind of buying, selling, nothing crazy. And then we did a pop-up shop in the summer that I graduated high school. It went really well. Started doing really big volume and stuff through Instagram. Things were blowing up for me. And when I went to college, which now I'm in my first or second semester of college now, I was kind of faced with the decision of all right, am I giving up the business, or am I going to school, or can I do both? And, at that point, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go all in, and I'm just going to go with it. So,
Congratulations. That's a tough choice.
Thank you. So it was at that kind of tough decision point that I really decided, you know what, this is a business that I want to be in, and this is something that I see that, there's a lot of momentum in, and I'm just going to go for it.
As your passion evolved into a business over the years, whether in footwear, fashion, or anything else, how do you guys think that you still have time to truly cherish and love the motivation of your work on a daily basis?
Can you say that question one more time?
Yeah. All right. As your passion has evolved into a business over the years, whether that be in footwear, fashion, or anything else, how do you still find the time to truly cherish what you do and keep you motivated at work on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I changed my sneaker love into painting shoes. It started with canvases. Someone told me to paint a pair of sneakers. I love sneakers. I painted the sneakers. I got into customizing sneakers. Into now I'm doing sneakers for celebrities and customizing apparel for celebrities. But on a daily basis, what keeps me motivated is just from what I come from. I don't really come from anything. I see, even from when I started coming to the sneaker community, I didn't really have sneakers to come into here with and walk around and trade. And I came here with, I think, Miss Piggy's. I think I customized it. I think I cleaned them. I ended up getting some Carmines, learned how to get a trade. I got 2 trades. Anyways, but now I turned all that into, I do this 24/7 from when I'm sleeping. I don't sleep. I'm painting all day. I'm customizing all day. I'm working all day. I'm building my passion and my craft. I'm networking all day. I'm on my Instagram all day. I'm just finding a way each and every day to network and grow and build and success. So again, it all comes to consistency. You can't give up. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take years. It's going to take time. Everyone wants to give up at a certain point because they don't have enough followers. They're not getting enough likes. They're not getting enough comments. No one was commenting on my stuff. I used to post things that I post now. I got 1 like on, I'll post it now, and I'll get hundreds of likes, hundreds of comments, orders all day. You just got to keep it going, love what you do, and also give back into the community and just be a good person, you feel me? Just do good, you feel me? That's all. Just love it. You got to love it, man.
What about you, Elijah? What keeps you motivated on a daily basis at the shop?
Motivation, I would say my family, myself, the people that really care about me, that I work around with. Of course, the money motivates me because, they say money isn't everything, but in terms of reality, money is everything. That helps you pay your bills, gets you what you want. So every time I upgrade and I buy something new, that motivates me. I'm young, that motivates me. So there's a lot of things that motivate me. So.
What about you, Ivan?
For me, it was having this business and being able to grow it and have something outside of sneakers. So Sneaker Shouts has been able to open up a ton of doors. So like I've done certain deals with brands that I would have never thought that aren't necessarily in the sneaker space, but maybe in the apparel space. So one thing I like to stress is have something part-time, right? Like I don't think you're going to today get up and say, I'm going to do this full-time and make money. It's going to be a part-time thing, and there's something cool about having this part-time thing, because when you can work on it and you can kind of start building it and start seeing some revenue come in, you can kind of tell someone, hey, yeah, like how'd you get those new shoes? Oh, I got this little part-time thing going on. So I can't stress enough is it's going to start as a part-time thing. So for me, it was going to class and then working on this till midnight, maybe sometimes 1, 2 in the morning, waking up, going back to class, boom, working on this. So it took a lot of sacrifice in terms of, hey, I'm not going to go out to this party, I'm not going to go here. And it was this part-time gig that was able to transition into something bigger. So what keeps me motivated is just seeing my numbers go up, being able to see people's reactions when they get a good deal. People reaching out saying, hey, man, I really appreciate your account. And just being able to work with new brands, new stores, and kind of taking it to the next level and just being able to work on something every day and being able to personally develop what I need to. I can't stress that enough. You need to stay organized. You got to stay committed. And you can't let, like he said, when he was getting 1 or 2 likes, he wasn't discouraged. He just kind of kept going and kind of saw that long-term possibility.
If you could redo anything throughout the transitioning your passion into a business, what would that be and why? So if you could redo anything from the transitioning from when you started till now, what would that be and why? What have you learned along the way and what would you change?
So for me, I don't believe in going back. I think what has happened to me for a reason. So I don't think there would, be anything that I would want to change. The only thing I could say is, you can't go back in time. So if you do make a mistake, just make sure, you solve that mistake and make sure you don't do it again. So, but in terms of going back in time and changing anything, I wouldn't do anything.
I would say if anything, it would just be, I always wish that I would have, from the start, treated my business with kind of, let's say, this goal of scalability that I have now, right? So, when I was just getting started, I don't want to necessarily say that, right, I was cutting corners, but I was kind of treating it like a hobby or just a little bit of a hustle in a way. And when I look back at it, I look back at kind of, the connections I've been able to make, the networks I've been able to leverage through, acting professional and through treating this as a serious business with something that, in my mind, I think that I could scale this to, the biggest sneaker company in the world, hopefully. That's how I treat it today. And that's kind of just the mindset that I wish that I had, let's say, right from the start. It's tough to have that mindset, of course, but it's something that, if I could have, I would have loved to have, treated it like that from literally day one.
Ivan?
I wouldn't necessarily change anything, but my advice would be internships, networking, and when you get in those spots, when you're in an internship, I was very timid. So I only talked to 3 or 4 people within that company I was interning for. I wish I had talked to every single person and just been more open and making, because you never know when that person's going to come around. Like I've run into so many people that I interned under that are at other companies now, and they're like, oh yeah, I remember you. You were the top rep at Karmaloop, and I don't really know them because I was very timid. I was very shy. So just reach out to people, get the knowledge, just do your research. There's a ton of information out there, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Google, whatever, and just reach out and don't be timid like I was. So that was the one thing is I wish I had just been more open, been more reaching out to people. And I mean, I've had friends that are like that, and it's put them in great places. So just kind of reach out to people. And, you might get might reach out to 20 people and only 2 get back to you. Don't get discouraged, because the information you get from those 2 people is going to be life-changing.
I guess we have one more question. It would be, what's the number one piece of advice you would give to everybody who's trying to start a business with sneakers? And what would that advice be? Start a business within the sneaker industry.
You know, the number one piece of advice, honestly, it's really value. I know it's a little bit cliche, but it's cliche because it's true. It's, you know, value your networks and value your relationships over any specific deal, over your own ego, over anything else. To me, the number one reason why I've found success is through my networks and through my relationships, right? So, you know, there are times, of course, where you don't want to do a deal, you don't want to go out there, you know, maybe the deal doesn't make the most financial sense at the moment, maybe you don't even like the person, maybe your own ego is telling you that, you know, I feel like I'm better than this guy, I don't want to do business with this guy. But at the end of the day, if you treat everybody with respect and you understand that everybody brings value, anybody that you meet, you know, can bring value to your business, I think that's major, especially in a really kind of tight-knit community like the sneaker game, right? So, you know, we're in a business where relationships are everything, right? You have plugs, you have, you know, your best suppliers, you have your best buyers, and that's something that you can't even really put a value on. I mean, that's kind of the definition of your whole business. So I would say really go out there, talk to everybody, meet everybody, and just value those relationships over anything else.
I would say stay focused and remain humble through your wins and losses. Another thing that a lot of things that they just said, networking is very important. If you don't have network, you don't have nothing. That's why social media is very important. So, you know, if I wear like the most expensive shoes on my social media, I have kids, I have adults that are like, wow, that's an expensive shoe. Let me follow him. Let me see what he does. So that's how you start to build up your followers. Networking is very important, I'm telling you. Also, as he said, value your deals. Like if you do a shoe deal, doesn't matter if it's with a little kid, doesn't matter if it's with a celebrity, like make sure that deal goes through right, because the most important thing is to be legit. You can have 1,000 times you did a legit deal with everybody else, have one false deal with someone, and that will just ruin your record. So make sure, you know, you're always legit. For me, I just been building up my followers, going up, you know, making my Instagram like diverse, you know, shoes, you know, high-end life. Celebrities start to hit us up through the DMs. That's amazing. My partner over there, Kelly, just met DC, built up connection with him, so we just linked up with them. But I'm talking for myself. I built my own brand, which is just me, and I partner up with The Vault. And that's why we just opened up a brand new store in Quincy, Massachusetts. That's the main branch. And we opened up a store in Revere, Massachusetts for North Shore, people that live in the North Shore. So, you know, for The Vault and building a brand, I built myself up first. Then I went into owning a business. So that's what happened.
What about you, Ivan?
My advice would be find a niche. So I always tell people, you know, don't spread yourself too thin. Try to do 1 or 2 things really well instead of trying to do 10 things really poor. So find your niche and then be able to do something a little different. So, you know, analyze the market. At the end of the day, the marketplace is reality. So you got to serve a value, right? Or you got to solve a problem. Otherwise, you're not going to make money. So the marketplace is reality. And then some of the best advice I always give is wages will make you a living, which is fine, but profits will make you a fortune, which is super fine. So it's not to knock down, you know, some people go out, get a job, work on your part-time, but just keep in the back of your head, like, I got to get profits. I got to get, you know, build that fortune. And again, just do something a little different than what the competitor is doing just to give yourself a little edge.
I was literally gonna say that. Yeah, just be different. There's a lot of people who do this. And like I said, we're in different markets, but we do this same kind of things. But that's why I admire them and what they do. And for me, it's a lot different because what I do, it starts from you're not really gaining much. When I first started customizing shoes, I was wasting money. wasting not time because I love to do it, but over time, as you build clientele, as you give back, as you take care of your clientele, as you network over and over and over and over, and work, and prove to your audience and the people that are watching you that you deserve for them to support you, and for them to know that you also would support them and you're doing something right for the community. Like me, I'm on my social media all day. I give back. I throw events throughout the year. I talk to people all over the world. I sell my product all over the world, and that's just from me giving back and talking and yeah, just stay true to you and what you do and keep going.
Do we have any questions for anybody on the panel? Sure. The question walking through one of the deals that you've done.
Right.
So
Let's say like you know, like like how, what do you want to know about, like how I do it, or oh, starting out? Okay, so starting out. Right. All right, so starting out, you know, if you're a first-time seller, there's Facebook groups out there. All right, there's a Facebook group, High Fashion, you know, Boston Hype. There's a lot of Facebook groups out there. You can post your shoes on there. You know, there will be local people that will hit you up and say, hey, I want to buy that shoe. The main page that I use is Boston Hype, ran by my friend Tinzin Kunga. I'm also an admin in there. We make sure that the people that you meet up with is legit. You know, there's no fraudulence going on, no, you know, anything bad going on. So, like, you know, you'll meet up with that person, or you could ship. By the way, there's people that are in LA, etc. They PayPal you, Zelle you, any type of way you ship it to them. But to meet up with them, you know, maybe drive to, you know, Stop and Shop or maybe a local area. You know, you can meet up with them, you know, sell a shoe, be like, here you go, make sure the cash is right, etc. So it's pretty simple in terms of meeting up. There's also, you know, you can sell on StockX and Goat and stuff like that, but yeah.
you, Oscar?
Yes, so shoes are really not expensive at all. I mean, if you think 160 is expensive, it is to a lot of people, but as in terms of money that you can make over the shoe, it's a lot of money. It's due to, you know, the shoe being limited. A lot of stuff I can't talk about, but it's due to the, you know, either the shoe being limited or, you know, getting your hands on, like, you know, bulk, etc. like that. It's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So the shoe game is really, like, it's not just about shoes. There's a lot of stuff going on in the back. So, like, that's why shoes are so expensive nowadays. You're welcome.
To add to that, I don't resell shoes. That's not my market. I actually don't touch product at all. So just to kind of clear some stuff up, I do affiliate marketing. So the way I work with brands, so I work with the top guys, Nike, Adidas, Foot Locker, Finish Line, and all I'm doing is sending them traffic. For sales, they pay me a % of those sales. So I'm in a whole different market than they are. And that's why I want to say, like, don't just be stuck to sneakers, because there's so many niches out there that I don't cover. Like, you could be apparel, it could be women's sneakers, it could be kids' sneakers, it could be baby shoes. And you could build this audience that follows you, say, hey, you know, I'm just a casual shopper. I call them mall core. So a mall core is somebody that goes into a mall, just wants to buy a nice pair of shoes. That's who I'm interested in, right? Because I'm going to show you, hey, look at this New Balance. It retails for $100. It's on sale for $30, free shipping, and I'm going to get a % of that sale. So if you just research affiliate marketing, it's so many different avenues you could go. You could be someone here that likes baby clothes, and you can make a business based off that. So just don't be stuck to sneakers, because there's so many niches out there, so many markets to be served, that don't get stuck in this, I can only resell sneakers, because it's a whole different. You could even build a blog around just talking about shoes and then getting paid for serving ads on that page. So there's a lot of different ways you could go. You just got to really focus, figure out what it is you want to do, what you want, like what is going to be your value. And it might be, hey, I want to talk about, you know, I want to be the place for women to go find deals, find, you know, all the information on women's shoes coming out, because that market's being underserved. And then there's different ways to monetize. You could literally monetize things in so many different ways. The information's out there. Always feel free. You guys can reach out to me. I can get more specific about it. But don't just be stuck to, I have to buy this shoe for 100 and sell it for 1,000, because that's like a unicorn. That's going to happen so often, not as often as you think, and it's going to be very hard to get that shoe. And then if you don't get that shoe, there you go. You're not going to make that $1,000. What are you going to do for the rest of the month? So what they do is extraordinary, because they've built their connections. They've built the way they source sneakers, and that in itself takes time, years, connections, meeting the right people. And it's a wonderful thing if you can get to that place. I'm not saying discouraging anyone from doing that, but it is very competitive. Like you said, StockX has exploded, eBay has exploded. There's so many marketplaces now, and one thing StockX doesn't have is supply. So that's one angle. All right, maybe, I don't get the hot shoes, but I get something that's not as hot, that's still flipping on StockX, and I'm going to go and get some stuff that they're overlooking. But my thing is, you could turn anything into a business. You might be into tacos, and here's a good idea, right? Just off the top of my head. If I was into tacos, I'm going to go to 10 taco shops, and I'm going to say, hey, give me 1 free taco to give away this month. And then you could put a package. Here's 10 free tacos to these 10 places in Rhode Island, and you sell that for $10. And now they go in. Obviously, they're probably going to buy another taco, so the place is going to make money. And now you just sold 1,000 of those for $10 a piece. So it's just, don't be stuck on sneakers. It could be anything that you're into, and you can find a way to monetize it. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just touch on a little bit, kind of, you were talking a little bit about like sourcing, right, and what we do. I've really tried to build my business on sustainability, right? So the business that I'm in, I kind of operate in a little bit of a niche within the sneaker space, and I do a lot of really heavy bulk selling. So I supply a lot of sneaker stores, like let's say you're a sneaker shop, right? I supply a lot of sneaker shops, and what we do is basically we aggregate hype sneakers, right, from our follower base or just from some of our suppliers. And then, we'll sell those in bulk to a sneaker shop that needs that stock, in clips of $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 deals. So, one thing we've really focused on is not being the company that's like, oh, we need to get lucky and, be able to buy the shoe for retail to make a profit this month, right? Because that is a unicorn, like you said. You're only going to be able to buy that shoe for $160 and flip it for $1,000 once a year, twice a year if you're lucky. So, again, it's not sustainable. So, where we've really built our business is from sourcing really, really large bulk amounts of sneakers, and paying resale prices for them. And we're fine paying resale prices for them. And we make our margins basically, in really heavy volume, packing up all those sneakers and sending them out to stores, other resellers, and people who are paying better. We have a lot of overseas buyers. And so that's kind of, the business model that we've built out. We buy from our followers and we sell to our followers. So it's a much more sustainable style than just, camping out and, or entering raffles and hoping to get lucky.
Do we have any more questions? Sure.
In the sneaker game, like the opinion on StockX is you really like it or you really hate it. I want to know their opinions on it.
I think we probably all have heavy opinions on it.
I'll start because I get this question a lot. StockX, whether we like it or not, it's a fact of the game at this point, and there's a reason why. It's because it's whether you have your issues with it or not, it's a great interface. It connects buyers and sellers well, and it's created the market in a way. I personally love it because I'm a big pusher of sneakers as, let's say, as an asset. I really see sneakers as assets. So I love the fact that the largest company in the game is the company that's calling themselves the stock market of sneakers, because I love that concept. We see sneakers appreciate in price better than most stocks do. And there's a lot of money to be made in that. And we've adapted to that, right? Now we're buying clips of shoes and we're holding on to them because we see long-term value in them. And we've done really well in that, I would say mainly thanks to StockX. So, when it came out a few years ago, I think it was an adjustment period like anything, and we've adapted to it. And I would say that today a lot of my business and kind of the structure of our business is very much due to StockX. So, it's just like anything in business. You adapt, and I think we've figured out a way to capitalize on it very well. But I can see how a lot of people dislike it for certain reasons.
What about you, Elijah? Having a store, how do you feel about StockX?
StockX really doesn't affect the store, because as a store, we built that store up. We took time into that store, money into that store, and our prices are not based on StockX. It might be a little bit higher than StockX. It might match it, because we don't work for StockX.
And you get to offer different things to StockX. When people come in, people get to try shoes on. They get to feel them in hand and see them.
For me, StockX is like love and hate. So I hate it, but I love it. You gotta adapt to it. You feels me? You can't complain over it 24/7. And StockX, I don't like to sell on there, but I like to do market analysis. Recognize what's gonna go up, recognize what's not gonna go up. As in everything, there's a flaw in everything. So there's a lot of maybe market manipulations we don't know. There's a lot of rumors.
So it could be used as a tool.
Yeah, exactly. Overseas is getting control of StockX, GOAT, so they don't even need us American buyers anymore sometimes. So it's literally like love and hate. So I just adapted to it. I had to adapt to it. Even if I don't sell on it, there's a market now. So you got to stick to that market. Maybe you could put your prices a little higher. Maybe you need a little quick cash. You could sell on there, but it's love and hate. So whatever you want to do with StockX, you can do it. There's a lot of ways you can buy, sell, analyze, etc. So
Yeah, I have no problems with StockX. It's just another tool. It's going to be here. It's not going anywhere. And I think it just encouraged the rest of the marketplace to figure things out, like eBay, Stadium Goods, Flight Club. So I think it's going to get interesting within the next 5 years. eBay's making a big pushback now. They're investing a lot of capital into building their platform. And again, StockX just did what every other platform wasn't willing to do, and that's take the inventory and then ship it out to the end consumer, which was brilliant. Again, it's just a tool, and it shows you that whatever business you go in, something's going to pop up and it's going to disrupt the marketplace, and you have to be ready to react. Otherwise, you're just going to crumble, or you're going to be stuck in your way, and you're not going to be able to adapt, and now your whole business is done. So it's just being able to adapt, and that's a perfect example of how things can just change like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just add, the way that I see it is no one's ever made money complaining about something, right? So, when StockX came out, there were a lot of complainers for sure. My whole thing was, okay, this is kind of where the sneaker game is going. How can I adapt my business? How can I make money off of it? And I think it's made margins a little bit tighter, but I think overall it's been great, first of all, in clarifying the value of sneakers, and also in just solidifying the whole sneaker market, right? When you have a tool like StockX where you can go on there and the value of sneakers and how much they're trading for, and you see the bids and you see the asks, I think it does a great service to the sneaker market as a whole to give it some legitimacy. And I think we've seen in the last few years the market has exploded, thanks in part, I would say, to StockX.
Any other questions? Sure.
How you doing? I have a 16-year-old son, and he's into the sneaker game like you guys are. He's very passionate about it. He's very, very passionate about it. I didn't know, I don't know about this. I'm learning through my son. Though, I just asked you guys the one thing that you could tell my son, is it persistence? Is it longevity? Is it the networking? The one thing that you could give him advice about that would make him sit on that panel where you guys are sitting at today?
I would say a little bit of all of those things, but definitely consistent, and nothing happens overnight. So to stay motivated and just to keep working on it, set goals and try to work towards them, and staying consistent and networking. I think a little bit of all of those things for sure. I mean,
for you, bro, I would say love and passion, bro. It's not easy selling shoes. I hate shoes now, looking at them. If you love shoes, if you love wearing shoes, if you love, everything about shoes, it shouldn't be no problem. You got love and passion in shoes, and you know what you're doing with it. That's all I'm going to say is love and passion. And motivation. And I want your son to know that, this is a good path he's going in, but also make sure his mind is open up to other things, sports, college, everything. The world is open to a lot of people. So, he can do this on the side and make that money. Well, you want your son to go to college, maybe, exactly. So, just stay by his side. Your son got this.
I think one cool thing about sneakers is the economic side of it. So he's understanding, hey, I buy this shoe. If I don't wear it, it's going to go up in value. So I think there's a valuable lesson there in terms of like molding his mind. Because I think one thing that parents do, and my parents did it, is we don't talk about money, right, with our children. My parents never discussed money, and it's at the end of the day, it's important, right? So what sneakers does is it opens that door to, hey, I bought this shoe for $160. It's worth $500. I could wear it, and that money's gone, right, because the value's done. Or I can hold on to it, maybe wear this pair instead. Maybe I could sell it down the line. I could now take that money and invest it elsewhere. So I think it opens up this cool game that kids are starting to learn. And when I was in high school, it wasn't like that. It was I bought this shoe, I wore it to school, and I hope no other kid had it. So it's a whole different game because I see these younger kids looking at it as a business transaction. And I think it's opening kids to be like, maybe I don't like selling shoes, but I like the marketing of it. So I'm going to go to school for marketing. Or, I like being able to see if, I bought these 10 pairs, I made this much money. They're doing accounting in their head. They just don't realize it. Maybe I'm going to go to school to be an accountant and kind of do some stuff there and open up my own practice. So I think the economics of it is really interesting, especially in the young minds, because it's almost like they're building their personal brands. They're building a small business within themselves, and now they could take that and do whatever else they want to apply it to. So that'd be my advice, is just understanding that as a parent, because it's weird. It's like, man, this isn't sustainable, or in your head, you're not really understanding it. So as a father, I would say, try to get a little knowledgeable on it as well and kind of help guide him and make sure that he's making his own decisions and being able to kind of just help him, personally grow. And all right, you set a to-do list. Here's your goals you set. Did you reach the goals? If you didn't, why didn't you? How do you grow? How do you change? How do you make sure you hit those goals? So it's cool. It's an interesting thing to be a parent with a kid that's into it because, man, this could open up many doors. It really can.
I would say, ease into it because I've seen a lot of younger kids lose a lot very quickly because either they were too aggressive, they had too much capital at their disposal, usually from their parents, or they were just, they just had that young aggressive mindset. So I would really say, have him ease into it, meaning, maybe you don't need to pay for his sneakers. Maybe you don't need to give him money. Maybe, if he has a couple of $100 saved up, maybe he should be, flipping that money on his own and, being independent. Because that's kind of where I started out. I really started out with a couple $100. And I think that's something that I'm really happy for at this point because I've seen kids go out there, especially in the really heavy bulk selling side of things where I am, I've seen kids go out there and get $100,000 loans on their parents' houses. And it doesn't always end well. So I would say, really ease him into it. He's young, he has time to learn, and just, make it a natural growth process. You don't need to accelerate it for any reason.
I'd say honestly, bro, like when I started this, like I said, I was going to all these events. I started with shoes. I had all these shoes. It's rare that that people are gonna really take this to the next level. Like me, I love shoes. I was the one. I had no money. I've been alone since forever. Since I've been 15, 16 years old. I had to make every dollar myself. I had to get all my shoes myself. I was a dude on the bus with 3 duffel bags because I learned how to take one shoe and learn how to get a 2-for-1. And then I learned how to get a lot of 2-for-1s to have a lot of shoes. It's just a hustle and dedication, and then it all comes back to what you love. If you don't love what you do, like I don't do anything I do for money. At the end of the day, I'm gonna make money every day for the rest of my life because of what I do now. But I've gotten to this point because I've worked every single day of my life without wanting a dollar. So everything that you do, you gotta love it. You're not gonna get anywhere if you don't love what you do. I don't care what you do in this lifetime. If you're just working for a dollar, it's not a good life. You feel me? That's just me. I'm gonna make money now. I've orders, clientele for the rest of my life, and it's gonna be like that. But I started off not wanting $1. I'll do stuff for free because I know that if I give something to someone, that's 50 more people gonna see it, 100 more people gonna see it. Just let them know that, just guide them any way you can. Just let him know that you see a passion in him, just guide it and have a little bit of faith in him and just do what you can for him because I didn't have no one to do it for me. Just help him, make sure he's doing it right, flipping it right, moving right, and then like he said, this shit could take you anywhere you want to go. I started with shoes and now I'm customizing gear and apparel for. Let's keep going.
Any other questions? So he was asking, when building connections, when you first started your pages, I assume the social media pages, what were the first steps that you guys took?
You know, personally, when I was just starting my page, I had, you know, for a few years, a couple hundred followers, a couple thousand followers. I actually kind of went out there and I identified people that I saw that, okay, you know, I'd love to talk to this person. I'd love to do a deal with this person. I'd love to, you know, just even have an open DM conversation with this person. So, you know, as I kind of leveled up, let's say through those follower accounts or even just through those kind of levels of the sneaker game, you could say, I consistently identified, you know, 5, 10 people that I wanted to get in touch with. And that was really helpful to me. One, because, you know, I used kind of their successes, you know, I looked at their success and I said, okay, you know, this is attainable for me right now and this is where I want to see myself in 3 or 4 months. And I was just going out there, reaching out to people and doing deals that sometimes maybe didn't make financial sense, but, you know, established a connection. Like, some of the best deals I've done, I've broken even on, only because it was with people that I knew would be beneficial to me down the line.
Ivan?
I mean, I don't resell shoes, so it's tough to speak on that, but I could talk about growing my page. And a lot of it just came from, I was on Instagram early on, so I caught a lot of the trends that aren't available now, which sucks. But in the current, right now, you know, I do a lot of ad spend. I do a lot of partnering with influencers. And just provide value. So every post you do has to provide some sort of value. A lot of my growth is just, you know, people engaging with my page. If they buy a shoe, they're wearing it, and somebody says, hey, where'd you get those? You know, oh, I only paid $30. I got it from Sneaker Shouts. So a lot of it is just like people shouting me out now. But I think he's asking more of like reselling shoes and how to grow there. And it, like he said, it's just networking.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, it may not seem appropriate, but sometimes if you dig in a little bit, you can find good stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's a kind of a secretive game in some ways. And a lot of people don't like to give up their secrets, but, you know, sometimes you got to learn one way or another.
My advice to hitting someone up, too, is try to provide some value, too. Like, a lot of the times if you're just kind of, like, being super aggressive, so try to reach out and try to have something to offer, you know. In your world, I'm not sure what that is, but, yeah, try to at least don't just hit up asking. Like he said, you know, it might make sense to hit someone up and say, hey, you know, I want to give you this, or I want to give you this really good deal. And just kind of have something to offer, because a lot of the time, I mean, I try to reply to everybody that hits me up, but sometimes it's just like, you know, it's really bizarre questions. So try to do as much research on your own so you're well informed and you're not asking things that could easily be Googled.
I'm going to tell you one thing, and one thing only. Stand out. That's the most important thing. Stand out. Be different. You post, be different. I'll post with 50 pairs of off-white dunks in a picture, and I'll grab people's attention. Be different. You could be different. Everybody here is different. Everybody has different genes. So be different. That's the most important thing.
Yep.
And brainstorm.
Well, we don't have any more time for questions on this panel, but we have another panel coming up. So thank you, everybody, for coming out for the panel for Sneakers is Business.
The next panel is at 2:30. So if you don't mind, you can also come back for that one. It's Building a Community.